Hi everyone, I'm Cal Spriggs. In my previous video I showcased my 4 Warhammer The Old World armies, and in this one I'm going to begin taking a stab at getting all of my Dark Elf army completely painted up to tabletop standard. Now, as you can see, this army is in a terrible state of disrepair. There's a lot of broken models. Some of them are painted to good standard, some of them are not painted at all, some of them aren't even primed. So I've got about 8,000 points of Dark Elves that I'm going to start working my way through. Up first, we have my Dark Elf Corsairs. Now these guys are supposed to be piratical raiders, and I decided to tie my whole army theme together with some ship decking wood plank bases. So I 3D printed these, and if people are interested, I can put the link in below for the file. And with all of these, I decided to spice things up a little bit, especially for like banner bearers and the champions. So I added bits of rope and little spouts of blood here and there. Spent a lot of time painting bases. There are a lot of these. I also had to, of course, remove the bases from the existing models. Now, for just the Corsairs, I have 15 of these purple ones. I have another 10 of the red ones, and then I still have 10 more of the old metal ones that I still need to paint. But the problem with taking the bases off the old ones, our elves are pretty weedy, so I had a lot of breakages if I wasn't careful. So it was a lengthy process getting them all removed from the old bases. Once I had the old bases removed, it was a simple process of gluing them on and going through making sure I liked the poses. Now the Corsairs are kind of infamous. They have a front leaning pose. It's really kind of awkward looking. A lot of times what I do is I prop up those front legs so that you can actually see them, so they look a little bit more dynamic. You can see I did that with the standard bearer, especially with the standard bearer with his tall banner pole. I wanted to make sure that he stood tall. Now with this, a few of these other guys, like you can see I have like a skull under his pose, and another guy I have a rock or something. So mostly trying to give these guys a little bit more of a dynamic look, a little less of the kind of hunched forward position for them. With all of these models, because they are 3D printed bases, I'm going ahead and using super glue for it. Now for some of these bases, I wanted to add a bit more planking and a little bit more interest and detail on the base. I used rope on a couple of them. For these ones, I used stir sticks to add just kind of some cross bracing or some plankage that would be, scattered debris that would be found on the deck of a ship that's in combat. So with these, I got stir sticks, kind of adjusted them, trimmed them a bit to size, adding them at angles because provides a little bit more visual interest, and then I just super glued those on. For some of them, again, to give that height to allow them a bit more dynamic poses, I double stacked them, and that again helped with the balance of these models so that they're not leaning so far forward. Even on the larger bases, the 25mm bases that they shifted to in the old world, they still lean pretty far forward, and that let me make some of these guys look just far more dynamic. Now I glued them on first, and then later I came through and I added some Agrax Earthshade, which allowed me to kind of darken that very pale wood, and it also allowed me to capture that wood grain really well. So that worked remarkably well to make these look pretty good. Now later on, when I started working on my executioners, you'll see I used a lot more of the stir sticks, but here I am adding that Agrax Earthshade. It does a really good job of essentially acting as a stain for the wood. Now, no group of piratical raiders would be complete without their fearless leader, and my fearless leader for my Corsairs is Lokir Fellheart. I've had this model for a while. He's the original metal model. Really like him, so I got him off the base and started getting him prepped. Now, with all the other models, I had a lot of painting to do, especially the detail work. I already had their red armor and their white robes kind of done, but I still needed to paint their hair, their cloaks, all the other details as well, their weapons, their faces, all their skin. So it was a lot of work ahead of me. Painting them, I kind of don't like the standard goth dark elf look. I wanted something a bit more visually interesting, and with my dark elves, I've kind of got my own lore behind them, in that they are these piratical raiders, but they aren't necessarily the standard dark elves. They are elves who followed Malekith out of loyalty to his family name, since he was the rightful king and all. So going through, I used purple here for the cloaks. I kind of like the look that I ended up with on Lokir Felhart, and I wanted to mirror that throughout the army. So I used Ziri's purple for the cloak itself on all these guys, and it's a lot of cloaks to paint. It doesn't seem like much. It's only 10 guys, right? But it's a lot of painting purple. So, but this went on pretty easily. Just 10 guys, right? But going through trying to get all the details on those cloaks, because I came back later and I dry brushed with a couple blues, and you'll see that here in a bit. Working on these guys, I also had to get, like I said, all the weapons done. So while that purple was drying, I went straight into painting silver on these weapons. I used Iron Breaker. It's really good color of silver. I really like that as far as GW's silver products. So I got all the weapon details on these guys. They have just a crazy assortment of weapons, and then I also customized them a bit. Some of them you'll see have sort of flails and stuff from some flagellant kits from the Empire, and I've even used a couple of Dark Elf witch arms and stuff to just kind of give them a bit more of that ferocity. You can see this guy here has a mace held up over his head to bash in some poor unsuspecting soul. They're quite peaceable, these Dark Elves. And in general, just went through getting all the details on these guys. Here you can see the flails. I really like these flails. I thought they worked good as like cat o' nine tails type weapon of this guy's coming up to really just flog some sense into people, you know. So picking out all these details, it can be time consuming, and it can be kind of mind numbing. I like to have an audiobook or video playing in the background, keep myself entertained while I'm working on it. This is a good opportunity to remind you that you should like and subscribe to the channel, and I've got quite a bit more Dark Elf content coming if this is your thing. I've also got Necromunda and other videos coming over the next few weeks. Also, if you happen to like reading science fiction or fantasy, I am a published author with over 40 novels at this point. I don't have a Patreon or anything like that. I do have books, so if you are interested in that kind of thing, please check me out on Amazon or audible.com. You can get them as digital, print, and audiobooks. Now, going through, I did pick out the areas that I was going to paint gold with the silver as well. I find that just makes the gold pop a little bit better. You can see here, this guy's posed up on a rock. It kind of makes him a bit more adventuresome looking as he throws a harpoon into some, again, poor unsuspecting soul. Now, as I painted these guys, I was using them as a bit of a test bed for the rest of my army, trying different things, looking at different color schemes and how to sort of tie the whole army together. Like I said, I didn't really like the sort of standard goth dark elf look. I wanted a bit more vibrant. I liked red armor and the silver, a little less as far as the standard kind of black hair or crazy dark purple hair. So on the back of the cloaks, I hit them up with some ultramarine blue initially, and then I came back through and I used, I believe it's Tesla's blue to highlight the lighter scales on the sea dragon cloaks, and I feel that gives it kind of really cool look as far as some kind of sea beast that they've killed, and using the scales and stuff as protection. Going along with this, dry brushing it didn't take very long. There was a little bit of overbrushing, but mostly dry brushing, and painting certain areas to catch the light. And then it came down to the banner. Now, I free-handed this banner. I wanted to do something that would really pop and draw the eye. So I went with a ship. Since these guys are piratical raiders, I figured they'd have their ship as their icon, their symbol, right? So freehanding this went really well. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I did it front and back, but I'm just showing the front here. And then I added a red sun because these guys typically attack in the morning or the evening, I figure, and so the rising red sun or setting red sun there is sort of their symbol. Their ship comes out of the gloom and then attacks when people are least prepared. After freehanding that, I felt the banner needed a bit more color. Tying it in with the rest of my army, I used this ultramarine blue quite a bit on some of the leaders and stuff, so I put that as a circle around the outer edge of the banner, and I felt that really made the white stand out. So it wasn't just a white banner with a symbol on it. It was very clearly a flag done up in battle standard. So with that done, I was really happy with it, and that kind of completed the unit as a whole. So here they are, my Dark Elf Corsairs with Lokir Fellheart leading the way. You can see they came out pretty sharp. This is one unit of my entire army done, and that gives me a pattern to follow in the future. So that's all I have. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to check out my books. Thank you.